It's my first What Sold video, and so for the past 2 weeks, I picked 20 things that sold for $30 or more. Let's get to learning. All right, we're gonna kick things off with a little cardigan I believe you've seen before if you've watched my prior videos. There aren't that many of them, by the way. I'm new here. I ended up selling this on eBay for $41. Now, because we get a discount and buyers do not on shipping, I made a little money in the sale. So I brought in $46.90. Now, with marketplace fees at $7 and change, cost of goods, my total profit was $34.28. Not bad for a little sweater with no care tag, no materials tag, no recognizable brand. Just wonderful. Okay, next is this beautiful silver and pewter picture frame. I know, I feel like I say picture frame in every video, but I do sell a lot of them. They are spectacular, especially to sell. Let's look at this one. I picked up this frame for $5 in a Cancer Society Discovery thrift shop. Everything in there was really overpriced, to be honest, so I didn't think I was going to find anything. The glass was a little wiggly. I had to figure out how to secure it, but I was able to use pearl top hat pins, and it looked fabulous when I was done. Now, this is definitely a frame you're going to call ornate. Here is something I want you to know. When I turned it over, I couldn't believe all the markings, including this one, sterling. Yes, this frame is made of pewter and sterling silver. Hello. Make sure you check the back of those frames really good because this sold for $75. When all was said and done, I cleared $62. This next item I got from Uncle Reuben. You may have missed it in one of my previous videos, but Uncle Reuben, rest his soul in heaven, is my sweet uncle, and when he passed, I was able to inherit several of his vintage items, clean them up, list them, and sell them, and it's been a total blessing to our family. This jacket, even though it's a size small, brought in a great price. Let's talk about it. Okay, so I paid nothing for this jacket, and it ended up selling for around $40. And with the shipping, I made a little money. So I brought in $46.15. After fees and no cost of goods or shipping costs, I brought in $38.62. I want you to notice how the buttons are all branded. This is just such a quintessential vintage jacket. I love it. And it brought in a tidy profit for being a size small. Let's talk about clear glass for a minute because a lot of resellers do not enjoy looking at or purchasing clear glass. They don't like glass in general, but they really don't appreciate clear glass unless it's crystal. Let's take a look at this next item. Okay, I found these at a dirty estate sale. I had to climb over piles. There was old newspaper stuck to them. I did not know they were crystal. I just knew that thankfully they were in great condition and they were $1 a piece. So I took them home, washed them off, and realized sort of quickly that I wanted to know who made them. So I did a Google search and ended up on Replacements Limited. This is a hot tip if you want to find out what your dishware, your serveware, your glasses, even your silverware is made, or what the pattern name is. So with a lot of really good close-up photos like this, I was able to finally determine they were rock sharp Dudley pattern, and they sold for $120. So happy. Next up is a pair of leather vintage boots. Just generally speaking, a great thing to pick up, even if they're a little beat up. Now I'm going to be transparent with you. In this case, the buyer received them, wore them, and the sole separated on one shoe. And she took a picture, she sent me a message, and she said, I would like a full refund. Now, I don't take returns on eBay, so I told her, though I don't take returns, if you return this on your dime, and I receive them in the same condition I sent them to you, minus the separation of one sole, I will fully refund you. There are lots of products on the market that work great for fixing shoes. and I have no problem fixing it, claiming that, and relisting it, saying that I have repaired the sole. No problem at all. It happens. She has not yet returned the boots, so I don't know if she decided to keep them. But this brand is not particularly trendy. It's a well-known brand, but no one's looking for these boots. Let's take a look. Here they are, really so gorgeous. I love this chestnut brown, and you can see they're wrinkled. You can see actually on the toe, you're going to see a few marks. None of that matters, especially with a combat style boot. I was also sure to write lace up and USA because they are made in the USA, which is a great selling point for a lot of people. When you sell any shoe, make sure you take great pictures of the heels so people know how worn down they are or are not. And also the soles. Flip them over. So as you can see, there was no indicator to me anything was wrong. I love the branding on the back of these, even though, again, Eddie Bauer is not particularly trending right now. However, just a solid boot. These sold for $42.50 with the shipping discount. I cleared $50 and change. My profit was $28. This next item was a really fun find that I did not know was going to be popular, and I did have it listed for quite a while, if I'm being honest. It's a 4XL, so that can either sit around for a long time or fly off the shelf. It's one of those sizes that it sort of just depends. The brand is so interesting. It's not a well-known brand, but apparently it has a cult following. Check it out. Okay, it's a sweatshirt, a plain sweatshirt. The color is gorgeous, no lie. So Discus Athletic Wear has a cult following. It's a 90s style of streetwear that's trending right now. I've had this listed since February and it just sold for $59. The construction is impeccable. The condition, perfect. There were no stains, rips, tears. Here's the label. Keep your eyes peeled. Such a great sale. $66 with the shipping bonus, I'll call it, after fees and all. I cleared $50. Wonderful. This is so fun, the stories that go with some of these things. So this next item is so random. I flipped through this book thinking, I want this for me. It had gorgeous pictures of food, like ingredients for meals. And I thought, this is the best cookbook I have ever seen. I flipped back to the cover and was a little bit confused, but that didn't stop me from buying it for 99 cents. Let's take a look. I didn't recognize the author, but when I flipped open and saw just how gorgeous the pages were, I came across some personalized information like BMI and things, and I thought, wait a minute, this is made for this person. She's not the author. I went on to eBay to see if anything like this sold, and sure enough, they sell anywhere from $20 up to $100. So I put in the listing, hourglass shape, BMI, all those numbers, and it sold for $39 in 4 days. Just amazing. You never know what you're going to find. Okay, lean in for this one. Remember when I talked to you before about style-based fashion and sourcing things not based on brand, but based on style, aesthetic? Well, this is a perfect example. When else can you buy a plain, solid t-shirt and sell it for more used than you can retail? This is a great example. Let's take a look. I picked this up at a little thrift store for $3, and here's what I noticed. The sleeves, those little tiny cap puff sleeves, and just sort of the very feminine silhouette. This top sold for $30 on eBay, so I even made a little money in the shipping. No one knows Rosio brand, do they? But it is made in USA, and it is cotton blend. It's got a little stretch and a scoop neck, and I used Coquette Girl. All in, $25 profit. You may not think people are still scrapbooking, but they are. I know because I sell scrapbooks all the time, including this charmer. Let's take a look. This particular album I got for free from someone. It's a Hallmark album, and that can help the sale sometimes. But I think what really did it was this gorgeous rust burnt orange foil element to these butterflies. I used the keyword boho, and I was sure to show pictures of all the inserts still in wrapping, the screws, to, so you could add to the album, and the maker's mark. And this sold on eBay for $35. I made some money in the shipping. So because it was free to me, I cleared $32. Okay, I'm not a big car person, but when I see a nice car brand, I know it. I saw this item on the Salvation Army shelf and I thought, somebody's gonna want that. And I was right. Let's check it out. I think vintage duffel bags are a great pickup, even when they're nylon. Of course, if they're leather, even better. But when they're branded with a popular car make or model, you've got to look into it. I paid $6.50 for this at Salvation Army, and I sold it on Etsy. Now, the thing about Etsy is they will charge you some marketing fees if someone comes off Google to purchase your item. And that's what happened here. So I did not clear as much as I would have liked to. I cleared just under $19, but it was packable. I was sure to show that in this hot tip right here. If something you're selling can be folded down, do it. And then when you mail it to them, there are no surprises. This next piece is so cool. And I had no idea this brand existed, even though it's fully connected to a very popular brand. As a reseller, you will certainly know the mother company, but did you know about the baby company? Let's take a look. Meet Griffith Gray. This is the spin-off company of St. John's. So the founders, Bob and Marie Gray, their daughter Kelly Gray, and one of their senior VPs, Diane Griffith, came together to steer this division aimed at a bit of a younger customer, still a professional in the workplace, family-oriented, very social. They steered away from knitwear and moved more into woven goods with tons of detail. Here's the label, so keep your eyes peeled. I sold this tank top on Etsy for $49. I did pay shipping, but still, come on. All right, this designer's name is hard to say. Tadashi Shoji. Have you heard of him? He's an American-based Japanese designer that came here in the 70s to study fashion and then launched his line in the 80s. He's red carpet, he's got some diffusion lines that are a little more affordable, but he really knows the female form and has a bunch of gorgeous details. And that is notwithstanding this next piece. Let me show you what I found. Here we've got another highly detailed tank top with this very unique beading. Kind of has like this butterfly effect. But the cut, look at the cut of this thing. Just incredible detail. And the whole back opens up. You'll see a picture coming where the whole back unzips. Now, I love to show how garments open and close, and so that's a tip from me to you. Always show it unzipped or unbuttoned so it's clear, to the buyer what's going on here. Here is the label. So you're definitely going to find vintage pieces out in the wild. I paid $12 for this, actually. I paid up a little bit, but look at that paper tag, that quintessential paper tag, made in USA. This sold on Etsy for $55. I paid shipping, which was just under $5, so great sale. Okay, here we go again. Bear with me on my style-based sourcing, because you're not going to believe that I picked up a skirt for over $8 when it has no brand on it at all. It's got a size tag and a care tag, but I have a little trick that I'm going to show you, a little trick up my sleeve for finding out what brand it is. Having said that, I didn't bother because this thing sold itself. Let me show you. Part of me wants to ask you what fashion aesthetic you think I was thinking of when I picked this up. Well, there it is, Whimsigoth, dark floral. It is this gorgeous jacquard, double-toned skirt, fully lined, just impeccable. Here is the back zip. Remember, I like to show how something opens and closes. And next up, you're going to see a lot of tags, none of which tell you the brand. However, zoom in. You see that RN number, 54050? You go to the Federal Trade Commission and you plug that little number into their search box. And then you hit search. And before you know it, up pops the company name. This is such a cool thing to do. It is going to show that it's Casper. Casper is a very common vintage brand, certainly not one you'd look for, except that this one sold for $49 on Etsy. All right, if you live in Vegas, this next item may not be something you're willing to ship because of high temperatures. Can you guess what it is? I've heard lots of resellers in Vegas say they refuse to source these things or sell them because of the heat. Let's see if you're right. If you guessed candles, you guessed right. Can you believe candles can sell for $30? 2 candles. These do have adorable details. I knew they would sell, and they did sell in under 2 weeks. I guess I listed them at a proper time of year. I usually don't, and they sit for a while. Anyway, these sold on Etsy for over $30. Shipping was about $6, so I made a very tidy profit on these. Always keep your eyes peeled for darling holiday candles. In case you didn't know, let me be the first to tell you, it's velvet season, friends. Start sourcing velvet. It is always loved, but just seems really especially loved lately with the whole goth, whimsy goth fashion aesthetic. I think it also plays into the old money aesthetic, even the minimalist. Quality pieces. Now, not all velvet is equal. Polyester velvet is not always the same look or feel as, say, silk or rayon velvet. This next piece is vintage, and the tag is so faded, I could not tell what the materials were, but the feel is divine. Let's take a look. Off the bat, I'm going to tell you this is a gorgeous vintage velvet blazer from Corette of California. I could have done better with the photography. There's a little yellow hue I'm detecting, and black is famously hard to photograph, but I should have adjusted my camera just a little bit more. Anyway, fully lined pockets, dark academia, whimsy goth, just classic. I'm going to show you the tag here in a minute. I used a magnifying glass to see if I could figure out if it was silk or rayon, because that's a great tip for selling things, let them know the quality. Here's a little smudge on the back I just closed, and yet it still sold for $59. I paid $7 at Savers. Great sale. All right, how many of you are counting down the days until Christmas? Well, one of my customers is really jumping on it. She bought a pair of candlesticks that I've had forever. And I was questioning my taste when I picked them up, but there is a certain je ne sais quoi, this little toll painted Santa face sculpted thing. I just have to show you. Let's take a look. Okay, I just remembered what sealed my fate on purchasing these. They're made by a company called Classy Clutter. And let me tell you something, if I could go back and rename my eBay store, my Poshmark store, my Etsy store, it would be Classy Clutter. I just think that is fantabulous. They are painted well if you look at them. They're a little tiny bit chippy, and the faces could skew slightly creepy. People love their handmade, handcrafted, vintage, kitschy stuff, and these fall in that category. These sold for $35 on Etsy, and I don't even know what I paid for them. Okay, what happens when you're buying a wallet and you find the brand and the color and the materials and the condition you want? Usually a sale, so don't ask me why this wallet sat on my storage shelf for a year, but it finally sold, and that's what's important. Let's take a look. The great news about selling the SAC brand anything is that it has a definite following. The bad news is that a lot of them are on the market. So condition can really help your listing. This thing was in Wonderful, wonderful condition. Hardly anywhere at all, super clean. I love to show the inside and all the storage. And in fact, I'll use the keyword organizer whenever I'm listing a wallet or a purse that has a lot of storage. Make sure you show the sides because that's where the wear takes place. Let your customer know the shape it's in. Show the brand always when you can. Sometimes it's hard. They're tucked down in there. This sold for $35 on Etsy. It cost me $5 and shipping. I have a secret. Not only do I love selling picture frames, there is a certain brand I am always looking for, and I'm going to share it with you today because I think very few people know about this brand. And here it is. The brand is Natalini, and it's made in Italy. They usually come in these gorgeous marquetry inlaid wood. They've also got other materials they'll put in there like abalone or mother of pearl. Absolutely stunning. I have sold so many of these frames. I don't think people know about them. Here's where the branding is always. It's on the back and it's got like this suede back. Gorgeous. Show any wear at all and they'll still sell for $32 on Etsy. Can you believe it? Great pickup. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? That I should probably show you one more piece of style-based clothing, something that doesn't have any tags on it really, something that I had to figure out on my own because I see pieces like that all the time. Someone tore the tags out and they're clearly vintage, but I don't know what material they're made of and I'm going to have to take measurements to sell it. And then it sells for a great price? Okay, one more. Let's do it. So I got these at Savers for $2.24. They were half off. They didn't even know what to do with them. I found them in a really weird section. Pajamas. Okay, but they're not pajamas. They've got a really nice zipper in the back, which I show. Plus, they've got this elastic pull-on waist. Gorgeous cranberry color. Wide leg. It just doesn't get any better. I couldn't say they were silk, but I could say they were silky, and I sure did. They sold for, get this, $39 on eBay. That's right, $39. Love it. Okay, I can't believe it, but we're already at the end. For my last item, I'm going to share something spectacular. Now, before you accuse me of sharing something that's not accessible to all of you, au contraire, I see these things all the time at estate sales. I feel like people just really don't know what to do with them. So I figured it out and I'm going to share it with you right now. Let's check it out. After avoiding them for years, I started picking up furs. I've bought them in Savers, Goodwill, and estate sales, which is where I got this one for $10. Now listen, there are ethical issues some people are going to have, but the truth is this animal was dispatched a long time ago. The fur exists, so let's use it instead of send it to the landfill. Show the quality, show the lining. Even if they have issues, they will still sell. People do love furs. Now you have to store them in either a linen sack or something that breathes. They need to breathe. Fur should not be kept in plastic. This sold for $80 on Poshmark. Well, friends, that does it for today. Those are my recent roundup of sales, $30 and above in the last few weeks or so. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please let me know what surprised you and what you're going to be looking for that you weren't before. Sound off in the comments. I love hearing from you there. And remember, reselling friends, God provides, we find it and flip it forward. Have a beautiful week. I'll see you right here next Wednesday. Bye-bye.